Japan just moved to protect anime and manga. Chat. I can't tell you how happy I am to hear that. You might have heard about this, actually. Some people are celebrating it, others are confused, and a few think it's about censorship. Well, let's talk about it. You might have heard the term "no interference in creative works," chat. Unless you're living on a rock, you know, those rocks can be cozy, especially in a lava pit. Anyway, tell that to Darth Vader. Spoiler alert. Yeah, don't tell that to him. He might not like it very well. The move comes from the Japanese government, specifically the Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry, or METI for short. Anime and manga are now treated as a major national industry. This is, I'm not surprised by any of that. Everybody wants to put their hand. I've said that many times. This many times before, that everybody wants their hand in that cookie jar. Proverbial cookie jar? It's not a real cookie jar, chat. Don't ask me about the cookies. Cinnamon. Anyway, this is not a censorship law that they passed. Japan introduced policy guidelines designed to protect creative freedom while expanding anime and manga and games globally. The government explicitly stated it will not interfere with creative content. These guidelines are introduced in the late 2025. They apply nationwide in Japan, but have global implications. So they're not just going to be only in, Japan. They're going to be everywhere. You know how like the UK or England or wherever they are trying to pass, Protect the Kids Act kind of thing. They're just interfering with everybody in the world on the internet kind of thing, or at least the United States. Yeah, is that kind of situation. But from Japan, which is great. I welcome that. Our Japanese overlords for anime's sake. Yeah, let's go that route. Japan wants to expand its global content market, but because creators face growing pressure from overseas standards, like, the West, are like, oh, you have people over in the West like, oh no, that's fan service. That's crazy. We can't have that. But a kid dying because he's trying to fight some villain, oh yeah, that's great story writing. I've said it time and time again. Chat, I'm just a broken record at this point. Why is that woman so caked up? Oh my goodness. Oh, that one gets, destroyed by a monster. Oh yeah. I bet some of you loved the beginning of Goblin Slayer, huh? I'm not here to judge you, chat. I'm just pointing out the hypocrisy. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm just pointing out the hypocrisy for a lot of people who love anime and manga. One thing is terrible, one thing is great, even though the violence is way worse than the fan service, if I'm being honest. If you want to remove something, remove the violence. But we're not here to have that kind of conversation. Actually, we are. A lot of people who want to get into anime and manga also want to change it into something that is not. And that's what Japan kind of sees. They're like, hey, everybody wants to change anime into something because now it's becoming more popular. Everybody wants to change it. And I find that very... Remember I said there was a lot of rats in the anime community? Yeah. It's not just a few rats. It's a lot of rats. And these rats are the ones who want to change it into something that anime isn't. I'm not talking about anime progressing and growing and becoming something new and grandiose. Yeah, that's a big word. I know it. I'm talking about people who like, or at least say they like anime, but want to change it into something that that's no other way for me to say it. It's just a very weird situation that we have, because you have China trying to make anime. I will never call Chinese anime. In fact, I'm pretty sure it has its own name for it. You have South Korea making their own versions of it. All these animations look and smell like anime, but they're not. They're definitely not. They're their own. And the reason why I say it from a more aggressive point of view, because if you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. This is also one of the reasons why I don't necessarily like Crunchyroll or Netflix or any source that provides anime. Because at some point, like, what we're seeing is these corporations making chess moves on Japan and Japan's anime. Because at some point you will have a situation where Crunchyroll could be like, hey, Japan, if you want more, Crunchyroll money, you're going to have to play ball and clean up some of your stuff. Censor it up a lot. In fact, turn it into something completely different. Turn it to comics, yeah! And they're wondering why anime and manga is outselling comics. At least that's what I hear. Understandable. For a while, a lot of people were concerned about the future of anime in Japan. You even got to the point where there are people in the United Nations trying to sanction Japan for their content. And those particular people are from countries where that kind of stuff is like where anime is banned anyway, or at least heavily restricted, or have views that are way against anything that Japan has going on. But the fact that we have Japan's new prime minister, prime minister, you know what I mean, that lady on the screen. Yeah, the screen behind me. But from what little I do know about her, she seems to be very pro-Japan and pro-Japan's people, which I find very fascinating. I haven't heard this much good news about somebody since I think the last Pope. Yeah, people really seem to love him, at least from what I heard. Yeah, and I hear a lot of great things about this lady right here. Do I know her name? I don't. Could I pronounce her name? Probably not. Does she have a great smile? Yes, she does. Yep. Do I love smiles? Yep. Yes, I do. Am I very hungry? I am. But I just wanted to give this information out to a lot of you who probably don't know anything that's going on with anime right now, or going on with Japan and their anime. So be on the lookout, chat. Some people may say they love anime. You know what? I saw a video on TikTok. I think it was on TikTok, where they were talking about how, they love anime. There's these people that's sitting around doing a podcast. You know, everybody's doing a podcast nowadays. We're also doing a podcast as well, chat. I am posting a few of them now. Now that we reached 10,000, or now 13,000, I'm starting to post the anime podcast with me and my co-host. They're old podcasts, by the way, so at the time I was still trying to figure out how I'm going to get the sound quality, but everything is newer now, so when we get caught up, everything will sound better. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is keep a lookout. What I'm trying to say, I almost lost track of what I'm trying to say. There are some content creators on TikTok that were saying how if they could just remove one thing from anime, what would it be? And someone said a lot of stuff. But then I was like, I commented, said, oh, well, then you just don't like anime, because that is anime. The trope where the main character is dark and mysterious, that's anime. The trope where the main character or any character is some femboy, that's anime. A trope where yada yada this, yada yada that, you know the stereotypical tropes, chat, that's anime. So the fact that you have people who say they love anime wanting to remove stuff from anime, they clearly do not like anime. It's like saying, oh, I love cake. Not butt cake, chat. I'm talking about, you know what I mean, chat. I'm talking about like just regular cake. Oh, I love cake, but can we just remove all the sugar? I'm like, okay, we have sugar-free cake. That is a thing. I mean, that's very weird. You know, that's serial killer status, but all right, we have that. So, oh, great. Now, can we add salt to it? Do you just want a cracker? Is that all you want? You say, yes, I just want a cracker. I'm like, okay, then eat a cracker. You're gonna remove every ingredient from a cake, and it won't be a cake anymore. It's something else. Can you make a cake with salt and no sugar? Anyway, chat, be on the lookout for these so-called anime lovers, because they probably look. That doesn't necessarily make them bad people. They're probably great people with their own great views and everything, even if they do like live action Dragon Ball. But I'm just saying, it's like that whole situation with Warhammer. Well, yeah, it's like the whole situation with Warhammer. Nah, almost. It's almost like that. It's just because Warhammer, the whole situation with that is that they retconned a bunch of stuff. Right. The only similarities to that and what we were talking about is that fans are getting upset. Yeah. So I don't know why I even brought it up. Anyway, chat, I'll see you next time. Bye bye.